The first memory I have, I think I was about 11 years old when it initially started. I remember when we moved into our first apartment, I was very excited because my mom was happy because she had her own place finally away from my grandparents. And even though it was housing authority, the projects as we called it growing up, it was still exciting to be somewhere new, to have a little bit more freedom as far as your own room because at my grandparents, all of us were in the same room. So I was happy about just having a room where my brother and I could call our own. I did not like the fact that my mom had this boyfriend. For me, I knew it wasn't right for him to be living with us. I was washing dishes at the sink, and I remember he came up behind me and fondled me. And I was in total shock and totally taken aback. And at the age of 13, and I went and told my mom immediately what he had done. Somewhere between 13 and 14, I just remember he would come into the bedroom while I was sleeping, and he would touch me in places that he shouldn't have. Basically, he molested me. He came in, touched me, left. I wrapped myself up in the covers to protect myself. He came back. He didn't have access, and he left me alone. He denied the molestation. And my mom eventually, she just sat there. She was crying, she was mad, and I thought for sure that, okay, because of what he has done to me, she's either going to report him or she's going to report him and leave him, but she did neither. My mom became verbally and physically abusive towards me. Being a respectful child and having fear of my mom, I didn't say anything and I didn't tell anybody. Basically, I was ashamed. I was ashamed for what had happened. I felt dirty. I felt guilty because I felt that I should have said something even though I was a 13-year-old. And while I went and did research and read about molestation and what it does to people and how they normally respond to it, I knew I didn't want to be a statistic. And I think accepting Christ at a young age also helped me to realize that there was more to life than what I had gone through, and that there was a possibility that I could still have a better life, that I didn't have to fall into being a person who was hopeless and just did not have any future. And that night, reaching in the drawer, instead of the pills, I got my little green Bible and I began to read. I can look back at the abuse today and actually the tears don't flow like they used to. The anger doesn't come like it used to because God has healed me from that. Several years ago, I was able to call her and finally talk about it with her, and God had already given me peace about it. And it was just a floodgate of tears open when I was talking to her because all I wanted was for her to acknowledge that it was wrong and to hear her apologize. And that was the final stage of healing for me. Today, I've shared my testimony with so many people since I've been in Emmanuel with so many students, because I feel that we overcome through the testimony of our faith and what God has brought us through. So if Dr. Sherry Story met 16-year-old Sherry Hines, is what she would be, my maiden name, she would tell her that you're going to grow up to know what love is. You're going to grow up to know that people love you, that God really loves you, that He has your best interest at heart, that everything works out for your good. You're going to be a complete person one day, and that the blessings that God has in store for you will far outweigh the trauma that you've been through in your life. And that there will even come a day that you and your mom will share a mother-daughter bond.